G'day guys, I thought I would make a video showing you how to set up a anchor system for an inflatable marker buoy to be used in the ocean when the wind is strong or you have a bit of wave action, and you also want the inflatable marker buoy to be standing upright. I organise a windsurf event called Wave Rally here in Geraldton in Western Australia, and this is the second year I'm doing this event. The first year I actually borrowed, or a sailing club lent me their anchor system. I didn't want to have to rely on them this year, so I thought, okay, I need to work it all out myself, and that way I can be self-sufficient. So without further ado, let me explain how all this works. So I've gotten some inflatable marker buoys made. There's an anchor, obviously, and depending on what the bottom of the sea is where you're setting this up will determine which anchor system you use. You can do a bit of research to find out which is the best for you, or ask your local boating shop. This is called a Bruce anchor, and it's good for sandy sort of environments, which is where I'll be anchoring this. I've got 3 meters of 6mm chain. So that obviously will sit down on the bottom of the sea and helps pull the Bruce anchor sideways and not up, so that helps it dig in. Actually, one important factor with these Bruce anchors is you can join this 6mm chain with a shackle like this. Only issue is if this gets snagged under a reef or a rock and you go to pull it up, then basically you might have a problem with the snag. So what you have here is you've actually got another mounting point here, and the best way to do it is actually mount the shackle to this point, run the chain along here. You actually cable tie the chain, so it's still pulling horizontal, but if it gets snagged and you pull the chain up, it'll break the cable tie and then pull at this point, which will actually lift it more like that and be able to more effectively get the anchor off the bottom. So anyway, for today's example, I've just got it connected here. So we get 3 meters of chain. In this case, like I said, 6mm. I've actually bought 150 meters of rope. This is like a 12mm rope, and I learned to splice. I'll link at the top of the video a video showing you how to splice rope. I'd never done it before. It's essentially like braiding rope. You untangle the strands and then interlock it amongst itself, and it just becomes a very effective way to create joins and ends to ropes like this. I've put this metal sleeve in there because anything you can do to minimize wear and tear on the rope, obviously, because there's going to be a lot of movement in the bottom of the ocean. With the rope, the general rule is to have at least 2 to 3 times the length of rope is to the depth of the water. So obviously if you're anchoring in 10 meters, you're going to need up to 30 meters of rope, because you don't obviously want a rope just going straight up. It wants to have a nice bend in the rope, so it's not pulling vertically up. This carabiner I have spliced to the end of the rope here like so, and this actually connects to the marker buoy. So everything's sort of quick release. I haven't got the marker buoy here, but essentially I've got tie down straps which connect to the buckles underneath the marker buoy, and they all attach to a loop, and that's how the anchor system attaches to the buoy, simply like that. So everything can be disattached very quick and easily. Around 1 meter underneath the connection point for the actual marker buoy, I've simply created a loop. Now, the actual length that you do this loop, it doesn't have to be any particular length, other than the fact that it has to be sitting off the bottom of the ocean, obviously, because if this is resting on the bottom, it's not pushing down on the marker buoy. So, you might want to go about 1/4 of the way down the rope, something like that. And I have bought 10 kilo kettleballs to attach. I've basically made some looped ropes here, once again, spliced them with a carabiner, and that essentially just attaches to that loop. So when the marker buoy is floating above, this kettleball is sitting under it and obviously pulling down, which is therefore keeping the marker buoy, relatively upright. I found that 10 kilograms is a good weight to, do most marker buoys. The marker buoys I've got are pyramid type, 2 meter at the base and 2 meters high, and it seems to do the job. You could probably put heavier if you wanted to really make it bolt upright, but I'm also worried if you go too heavy that it puts a lot of strain on the marker buoy. And obviously logistically, if you're on a jet ski or a boat trying to get all this system out in the sea, you know, obviously it's just harder to do that with a heavy weight. So 10 kilos I think is a good, safe kind of weight to handle all that. And that's basically it. The beauty of this system is that you can obviously disattach everything quite easily. The weight comes separately off. It's not permanently attached to the rope. So, you know, if you need to store it, or, you know, in this case, once the event's done, I can actually just unloop this rope, and I've got some kettlebells I can use for exercise as well. So it sort of doubles for that. I've made them in a whole bunch of different sizes because where this event happens, on the inside, it's only a couple of meters deep, and on the outside, it's 7-8 meters deep. So obviously I've created different length systems depending on where the marker buoys are sitting. We'll go down now to Coronation Beach where the event happens, and I'll show you how it looks set up there. There it is, 1 PSI. So let's connect that up. There we have it. Pretty good, isn't it? I'm actually so impressed with how these things turned out. There's 3 heavy duty buckles. So the way I've decided to do this is obviously the end of the rope needs to connect to this somehow. There may be a better way, but this was the solution I've come up with, is to buy 3 tie-down straps, and then it loops through this ring, and that'll sort of sit here, and then obviously the rope connects to that, and that's how it's going to be done. So I'll show you what I mean. So basically you just loop this through here. So there's one there. Obviously you want to cinch them so they're all the same length, and then the carabiner will just clip into there. We've got the buckle. This is going to connect into here. It's so funny, look, you can actually windsurf with this. You end up going at a rate of knots downwind, but all right, what do you think about here? Yeah, I reckon about here. Okay, let's release it.